Greetings YouTube, Captain Machine here, back for another video, but this time not a role-playing video, as the title screen above states. This is my first ever zombie watch video. And what brought this on? Well, it's Halloween, and I've got Night of the Living Dead, the original George Romero Night of the Living Dead. It does come colourised, but I haven't seen the colour version yet. And basically, they're just painted on the actual black and white palette, so I haven't seen that yet, but I'll give it a whirl. And then I realised, I picked it up, by the way, for 99p in a 99p shop, so there are bargains out there. This is a genuinely good movie. Sorry about that. Right. Basically, I've realised that I haven't actually seen this movie before. And basically, I then realised that when it comes to zombies, even though I'm a big fan of the genre, I'm more well read than I am well watched, and given the fact that it's primarily a visual medium, that's not a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat Zombie Watch as my little tour de living cannibalism, whatever, and I'm going to review these in the order that I watched them. I've only seen, I think I've seen 4 of the Romero movies, and there's more than 4, and I think there's 5 actually. So I've seen Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and Diary of the Dead. So yeah, this is the only one I haven't seen. So this is where, not the first zombie movie in existence, but it's the one that popularised the concept, and a lot of the themes that are in here, I'm told, are what went on to become the mainstream. So I'm going to see how that pans out. So I'll be talking about that in a bit. But today, I'm MP, I can do that. I'm going to be talking about The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead, as you may or may not be able to tell, is a comic book series. This is a trade paperback. This is volume 1. So if you want to go out and look for it, this is what it looks like. You'll find this in most comic book shops, and I think Waterstones sell this as well if you live in the UK. Although, my advice is to get it on play.com or something like that, or Amazon, because they will charge you a lot less for the same thing, and usually throw in free shipping as well. This is a black and white comic that's published on a monthly basis and still is published to this day by Image Comics, and those are the same people who make Spawn and various other reasonably good intellectual properties actually. And basically it's the core concept behind it is it's what would happen if the movie didn't end. Now a lot of zombie movies end with a rather climactic scene, and sometimes it's in doubt as to whether or not the good guys survive, or if they do survive and they move on, what do they encounter, where they move to. The new Dawn of the Dead did this quite well, whereby being at the end, after all that escaping, right in the credits, it showed you that where they went to was still full of zombies, so you knew they were screwed. With the original Day of the Dead, when they got in the helicopter and they flew away, you had no idea where they went. So that's the idea behind it. Basically it's the story of a cop called Rick, who lives in the Midwest, and of America, by the way. Most zombie things are based in America, and I don't begrudge that badly, to be honest with you. And basically he gets shot by a criminal. This is on the first page, so I'm not really spoiling anything for you. And he wakes up in a hospital, and he's probably been in a coma for like 2-3 months. And when he woke up, the hospital's empty, because the zombie apocalypse, while he's been asleep, has happened. Now, those of you who are even halfway into the zombie genre will realise that is a popular setup for another movie. Yes, 28 Days Later. Now, this was written 1 year after 28 Days Later, so they clearly nicked that idea from there, but it's a fantastically good idea. That way you don't have to get bogged down in the logistics of trying to figure out why civilization collapsed. If you want to read a good book that does that, we'll read World War Z, which I highly, highly recommend, and I'll get into that along with the Zombie Survival Guide, which is kind of the prequel to it, later on. Basically, what happens in this is it's a continual story of his survival and the people he meets and the relationships that form from that. The body count is surprisingly high for a comic book. It doesn't pull any punches, not only in its gore, but also the subject matters that keep coming up in conversation and their interactions. So I do not recommend this comic at all for young kids, and some teenagers. I would keep them away from it and read it first and see what you think, because it gets worse the further down the comic you get. It's purely, I would say, for adults only. I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending for anybody under the age of 18. 2000 AD, this is not. And for the most part, with the exception of the first few issues, it's all done by the same artist, so it's actually this lovely evolution of an art style, and I dread the day when they change the artist again, and I have to get used to the new drawing. Although there is a possibility that the issues might end before that happens. Basically, as I said before, this is an idea of what happens after the movie ends. Now, the book itself, and it's up to 10 issues now, like I said, 10 trade paperbacks. I don't buy monthly comics, I don't have a comic shop nearby that allows me to do that. Has had 2, maybe 3 endings so far, whereas if you're watching it as a movie, the movie would have ended. And basically, it's a lovely stopgap to allow new readers into it, and also it gives you those apocalyptic zombie moments that you get at the end of the movie where people start dying in droves. That's not to say that it's a case of, oh, Mr. X has shown up and he gets killed, what a big whoop. No, the writers have made a great deal of effort to make you empathise with these characters, and in most cases you genuinely do like them, and the villains are, I won't say, yeah, the villains that are in it, and there are villains in it, because the zombies are not the villains, they're just the backdrop to the whole story. But the villains are particularly villainous, and when they do get their comeuppance, and most of them do, you are quite happy about that. There are a couple of times when they don't. You don't feel quite happy about it. You think they got a bum rap. And that is also a clever way of writing as well. There's a couple of times where people that may not have necessarily been bad guys, but are very well misinformed, or just had their own agenda that they were following, or their own survival instincts maybe, got killed. And you genuinely feel bad for some of these guys. You really do. So it takes you up that roller coaster ride of emotions. Now these, I'm not going to ruin the ending for you because there isn't an ending as of yet. There are, and on all either the false endings, I'm not even going to talk about the main plot beyond it's a Romero-esque world, which means that it follows the Romero rules of zombie films, which is, if you die, you become a zombie. If you get bit, the bite will kill you, then you die and become a zombie. Zombies have to be destroyed by shooting them in the head or destroying the brain. And that's it. They're the rules of zombie films. Oh, and they're slow, but we knew that already. They're the rules of the Romero zombie movie, and it follows those to the letter, and it explores those particular rules quite adeptly, because at the start of it, the rules in question are not known by all the characters. In fact, some of those 4 rules I've talked about don't even come up until about into volume 3 or 4. They figure out how to kill zombies quite quickly. We're not going to talk about that, but even in the first issue, they're looking and thinking, what is wrong with these people? Which is a great reaction for people who've never seen a zombie before. So, to summarise, The Walking Dead. Go buy it.